Hello, welcome to Joy of Stationery. This is Jennifer, and what I have for you for this video are my July favorites, as well as a July reflection, especially since we are now approaching very quickly the end of the month. And for July favorites, I wanted to mention first that it's very, very much inspired by Cause Page and Studio and the kind of monthly favorites videos. And in a similar way to the June favorites that I posted up, I have for you 7 for the month of July that I'd like to share with you that I found particularly useful during this month, and in case it might be something that you'd be interested in picking up. So to begin, I might begin with ones that might already be familiar to you from my previous videos. And so first is some of the components that made up my One Book July setup. And so those are the Hobonichi A6 Techo in the Avec, as well as patches. So this was the cover that I used for One Book July. As I've mentioned before, this is the Willow Tree Colors cover from Hobonichi from their 2023 release. And what I decided to do was to kind of liven things up a little bit by choosing some cute patches and applying them on here. And I really loved the way that it turned out. I thought it was very cute and kind of in line with a kind of summer outdoors, camping and exploring kind of theme. And I thought that the colors went really well together. So I have this beautiful mountain sort of view patch, as well as this lovely kind of explore pennant. And so it got me really into patches this month. So I have some more others that I'm thinking of kind of experimenting with for future covers. Of course, what was housed in this cover is the the Hobonichi Techo, original in the Avec. This is the A6 size. This has been the foundation of my One Book July setup, and I've loved the way that it's sort of taken form in its own way. I've done some experimenting, but kind of it was less experimenting than it was kind of fine-tuning a system, and I'm really happy with how it sort of turned out, and something that I will be taking with me into August. But July was really the month that this really took off, and I was able to kind of establish my system with this. Next, what I have, this is the Uniball One P, this lovely kind of petite pen in the, I think it's almost sort of like a burnt orange, or kind of a burnt umber, perhaps, kind of color. And I thought that the color went really well with the Willow Tree Colors cover. And this is the 0.38 tip, which tends to be my preferred point for ballpoint or gel pens. But this is definitely the pen that I used every day with my One Book July setup. I absolutely love these pens, and that's why I'm featuring another one in this set of favorites. I had another one which was the 0.5 in my June favorites, but definitely a staple in my lineup in terms of stationery goodies. Next I have for you, and this is one that might be familiar to those of you who saw some of my previous videos, is the new Papermood Studio pen case. And this was a purchase that I'm very happy about. I did a mini review of it, so, you know, I won't go too much into it right now. It's pretty much kind of stayed the same, but it's just such a nice and lovely pen case to store a number of stationery or stationery adjacent goodies, as well as pens, and it does feel really nice in the hands. I love sort of the color combination of this as well. So this has definitely been one of my July favorites. Very glad that that I got one of these. Next, I have a few items that that I started using in July and will likely be taking with me into August. And I plan to do a little bit more in terms of showcasing the way that I'm using this for a setup that I'm hoping to bring into August and beyond. So the first is this really beautiful leather concho by Nanala Design, and I'm using it to kind of enclose my blue customized TN. So what that means actually is that unlike other rubber bands, this one doesn't actually go, you know, into the hole provided, but rather kind of sits on top of it. But I really loved the way, I love the look of it. I love the threading. There are other options available, but you know, I wasn't able to necessarily find a number of them available to me, but I do really like that I was able to get this one. And the elastic, I don't know quite how to describe it. It's quite springy and really rather nice. And you can see here the kind of bag has Nanala Design, Leather and Company, and so this has been really lovely as I begin to kind of set up a standard TN sort of situation that I will certainly be exploring further in a later video. But I really liked this. I love the kind of extra bit of character that it adds. So I've adjusted the camera a little bit because I realized that you know, some of what I was trying to show was actually off camera. What I have for you here is the Galen Leather. Technically, what I had ordered was the Hobonichi Weeks Mega cover that they have, that I think is actually the same, or at least certainly very similar design to what they have for example, their standard TN wallet inserts. And this was inspired by a discovery that May of Amazing Plans on Instagram made about the way that even if you've ordered or purchased what is technically a Hobonichi Weeks Mega cover to some extent, that this can actually fit in certain ways with the standard TN, just as you can sort of see here. And let me just sort of show you this. This was a discovery that I was very excited about, and was actually the reason that I had gotten this. So I got this in just a sleek and simple black, just because I felt like that went really well with the black leather secretary pocket that I have as a customization on the back of this. And I do think that it works really well. So I'm excited about this combination as I move into August, and so certainly this became sort of one of my July favorites, July discoveries, if you will. And just to give you a little bit of a little sense of what it kind of looks like, what I ended up doing, and I'll be doing a more in-depth video of my entire setup of the standard TN at a later time. But for the purposes of just kind of showing you this insert, there is a pen loop that's usually here. I felt like it was kind of getting in the way when I was trying to close this up. And so I did some, you know, some minor surgery to remove it just with a little X-Acto knife. And I do find that for the purposes that I need this for, that it works a lot better. You can see that there's kind of there's a longer slot kind of in the back here, as well as a different one you can access from the side. Card slots over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. We've got a kind of secretary pocket here, and then we also have what is this little pocket right over here. And then on the right hand side, we actually have 2 pockets on the side here, this one and then this one over here, and then a zippered pocket that you can kind of access from the right hand side. So you can see here, oh, and the back and the front are clear for now, but what I really liked about this insert is seeing how many pockets that it had, and there's a reason for that, for, you know, why I'd like to use this for my standard TN setup that I'll get into at a later point. You can see though that my 7th and final July favorite has been included in here. So I've long been kind of interested in these A6 cards by Foglietto is the brand, and this is just kind of a standard set that they have. It comes in these 3 colors, and this is their creative set. And you can see that, for example, the blue ones have this really kind of whimsical design to them where, you know, it's kind of lined, but one of the lines, you know, kind of goes off the beaten path, as it were, which I think is really fun. The pink ones, oops, if I can sort of show you, the pink ones are just plain. All of them do have kind of a room for the title of the card if you'd need, as well as a number if that's helpful for your organization system. And then the yellow ones are this great kind of squared grid. And for each of the designs, I think it appears kind of on both sides. And I was hoping to kind of experiment with this for my writing, and started doing that this month, actually, you know, fairly recently, but it's quickly become one of my favorites because for my various writing projects, there are usually so many different, for example, sources to kind of go through, so many different ideas and concepts to synthesize all together, that I felt like having a kind of both visual and tangible way of sort of moving things around and positioning them differently was something that I think that my brain just needed in order to just help with my writing process and with kind of sorting through ideas. So I'll go over this, you know, in more detail with my whole setup of the TN later on, but, you know, again, these are just the A7, I'm sorry, cards that I found so valuable, and I could kind of sort them, color code them. What I've done in this particular case are, you know, yellow for primary sources, primary material, blue for secondary sources and scholarship, as well as theory, and pink for my own arguments and for my own syntheses of different ideas. And I think it's just helpful for me in terms of organization to kind of compartmentalize a little bit in this way, and then also that way to experiment with the structure of ideas as I start composing an essay or, again, a larger or longer writing project or presentation, things like that. And I found that they fit just so perfectly in that front pocket right there. Just really nice. There we go. Those are my July favorites that have really gotten me through this month, and that have just been really lovely as I begin to kind of build my system into something that's sustainable and into something that addresses all of my needs.